This is week 10, part 3. And again, we're still talking about intravascular diagnostic devices. And there are two. There is the IVUS and FFR. Okay, so we already talked about IVUS, and so now we're going to continue on with FFR. So FFR is aka the pressure wire. FFR stands for fractional flow reserve. So the blood pressure of all arteries should be the same. So all of our arteries should be the same, no matter where they're located in the body. Of course, normal being the average normal, 120/80. Of course, that's give or take, depending on the person. So the FFR wire has a transducer on it. The catheter measures pressure the normal way, hooked up to a transducer. You put the FFR wire inside the catheter. You then place them just proximal to the lesion. At this point, you zero both of them. Now you advance the FFR wire past the lesion. The blood pressure should still be the same. Next, the doctor injects adenosine. This is a drug that stresses heart muscle. It is supposed to kind of mimic what the heart does when a person walks. Again, the blood pressure should be the same. Now, if the blood pressure is different, distal to the lesion and proximal to the lesion, then that is called a gradient. If there is a significant gradient, then that means the lesion needs to be fixed. A normal artery has an FFR of 0.94 or higher. So if the gradient is 0.7, for example, then the lesion needs to be fixed. So why do we do this? Well, again, let's say we see a questionable lesion on the angiogram and we're just not really sure if the patient should have an intervention or not. So how do we decide? We do an FFR. If the FFR is less than 0.8, then we fix it. And if it's not, then we leave it alone and spare the patient having that procedure. Okay, so that is FFR. And again, we've talked about FFR before and there's a video about it. Okay, so that was diagnostic devices. Now we're moving into therapeutic devices. And again, all of these things we've already talked about and you know what they are. But again, we're just going to go ahead and cover them quickly. So diagnostic means to diagnose. Therapeutic means to fix. So all of these things that are listed next are things to fix whatever is wrong. So first we have balloons, and again, you know what these are, and that is called angioplasty, and you know what that is. And then, of course, stents, we know what that is. We have a stent crimped over the balloon. So now when the balloon inflates, the stent expands and stays in the artery forever. So we have bare metal stents, and as the name implies, there's nothing coated on the metal, it is bare. And we have drug-eluting stents. And that is where a drug has been coated on these stents to prevent in-stent restenosis. Okay, the next thing is intra-aortic balloon pump, and this is the machine that gives the patient an extra heartbeat, so to speak. This is a very long balloon, and it is located, or it is placed into the aorta, which is the largest artery of the body, of course, and it extends just below the aortic arch and ends just above the renal arteries. So when the heart is in systole, so when the heart is contracted, the blood is pumped to the rest of the body. Then the heart relaxes diastole. So when the heart is in diastole at rest, the intra-aortic balloon pump inflates. When the balloon inflates, it simulates systole. It displaces all of that blood in the aorta, just like as if the heart were squeezing. So how can an inflating balloon simulates systole? Remember, this is a very large balloon inside the aorta. When this balloon inflates, it occupies the lumen of the aorta, and in doing so, it pushes or displaces all of the blood out of the way. It pumps it. Now, who needs the intra-aortic balloon pump? There's two situations. The first is the patient who just had a heart attack. If the heart muscle was greatly damaged, the intra-aortic balloon pump can assist the heart with its job while the heart gives it time to rest. Then you have the widowmaker. So this is the patient who comes in for a heart cath, and there's a very tight left main lesion that we didn't previously know about. And so now this patient is at risk of a massive heart attack at any time. It's like they're literally hanging by a thread. So we put the intra-aortic balloon pump in as a backup until the patient has surgery. Okay, and moving on to atherectomy. So the term atherectomy is the actual removal of plaque from the blood vessel. So angioplasty, remember, doesn't actually remove the plaque. It only squishes it out of the way. And there are two main types of atherectomy devices. There's directional atherectomy and rotational atherectomy. Directional atherectomy. For this, there are blades inside a cutting window on the end of the catheter. As the catheter is moved through the artery, the plaque is shaved off. The plaque that is shaved off is captured by the nose cone of the catheter. So here is a picture of that, and those are blades literally shaving off the plaque. Then you have the rotational atherectomy, and for this they have put a burr on the end of a catheter. The burr spins very fast and grinds the plaque into very small particles. These particles are safely absorbed by the body.